Hi everyone and welcome back to today's technical analysis video. I'm Chris and I'm an analyst and trader, and I've been in the space for 10 years, and I'm going to share my expertise with you today on various coins, and we are going to include the same coins as last week. So this means I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Litecoin, XRP, and as well about Solana, because there is some action happening at the moment. But first of all, I wish you a happy new year, and I hope you're successful with your trades and everything else you wish to accomplish. So we are going to jump directly into the Bitcoin chart, and I'm going to talk about what has happened last week first. So you remember we were at this point here. I've marked it with a blue square, and this was the situation, and I've talked about the support levels and resistance levels, and I said that we are likely to go down. So, and you see what happened is that we hit the first support level here, which was at 16.5K roughly. And this is also the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. If you look from this low here to this high, so I'm going to show this to you. You will see that the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement is at this level here. So I told you last time it's holiday season and all the trading action is a bit limited because most of the big players, they are still on vacation. There's not much trading volume, which you can see here. So the trading volume has increased a little bit, but is still not very high. So everything that happens now has to be seen under these circumstances. It's still not very significant what's happening at the moment because the trading volume is not the highest. And another thing is also important. So we have left December behind and are in January now. And you might say, okay, well, it's just a new month, but there are some details that you need to consider when you think about the chart, because December is usually the month where some tax loss selling is happening. So people sell their positions for a loss in order to get back their taxes they paid. And so this means that December is usually a month where, if you're not in a massive bull run, where you see downtrends. So all this is kind of expected, and this is what's going to be better in January per se. So this has been like this in all the bear markets before, and usually January is a better month because of these factors. Okay, but now I want to talk about what's important for next week, and for this I'm going to clear some of the items of this chart and we'll talk about only the most important ones. And you see that Bitcoin has stuck to this 16.5 thousand US dollars support level for a couple of days now and is in this sideways direction at the moment. So what can we expect next week? First of all, it's important to see what the chart looks like at the moment. And we see that this here, so we're going to ignore the wicks that were down here, so the panic wicks, so to say. And we had a retest of the support here. And this can be considered a double bottom formation. Of course, final confirmation of this double bottom formation has not yet happened, and it needs to be validated on a larger time frame. For this, we are going to switch on the daily time frame, and you can see we've had some retests here, and even we're below here as well as here. And this means that the Bitcoin price needs to stick to this line here and to respect the support line in order to confirm this double bottom formation. And after this, I think it's possible that we see an uptrend at least until this 16.8K resistance level that I've just shown you. And from there, of course, we could see rejection and retest of these lows. In case we don't see this support holding, then that's the next one I've just deleted. So that would be at 16.3 and 16,000K. And there, of course, it's possible that we see a retest of these levels. But for now, I told you Bitcoin is consolidating here and the chart doesn't look too bad and December is over. So I see some good chances that there is some slight uptrend, although I expect this week will not be so significant in terms of trading action, because I told you it's still holiday season and there might be some more sideways action going on. But for now, it doesn't look too bad. And there could be an uptrend to this resistance level here. So we are going to look at some other indicators, and you know this one. So this is the Bollinger Bands indicator. And I've talked about this before, and you see that the Bollinger Bands are right now very narrow. So they usually broaden after uptrends or downtrends and are very narrow at the moment. So it means we are in a very narrow trading range at the moment. And right now, if we zoom in, we are near this middle band. So, and you know, I've talked about RSI and the importance of RSI as well. So the relative strength index. And what you see here is that RSI has retested or almost retested the oversold zone here, so slightly above 30. And this was when we had this downtrend, and there it found support. This means that RSI is again a very good indicator when it comes to support and also resistance. Since then, you see that RSI is trending up. It's not a very, very strong uptrend, but at least it's a clear uptrend from these lows here. And another thing that we see is that the yellow line, so the signal line, which is the moving average, has also been crossed to the upside. So it means the RSI itself is above the yellow line, the signal line. And this means that this is a bullish formation and a bullish signal. So these factors make me confident that we see an uptrend to this 16.8K resistance level. And if we zoom in to a smaller time frame, the 2-hour time frame, then you will see that there is something very similar. The RSI trending up and is at the moment in the middle region, so neither oversold nor overbought. However, this is a very interesting chart setup because you remember I've talked about divergences, bullish and bearish divergences. And here per se, you can find two different things. So you see that the price is forming lower highs, which means this line here. But also on the other hand, if we just go from this trend here, we start from this candle here to there, you will see that it's an uptrend. So we see higher lows. And so we have to draw this line from here to here. So this would be a bullish convergence. So RSI and price going in the same directions. But if we consider the downtrend here, so the lower highs, then we could also say it is a bearish, hidden bearish divergence. So for the hidden bearish divergence, it's important to see the highs that are higher on the RSI and the highs on the price that are lower. So if you're very correct, you can say both things are possible, and this makes it very hard to decide what's happening in the near future. And another thing that makes this chart rather indecisive is the fact that we see a chart pattern that's called a symmetrical triangle. And symmetrical triangles, I think I've talked about this before. Symmetrical triangles are patterns that indicate that something is happening, although it's not very clear to which direction. So in theory, we could see a downtrend or an uptrend. And also we have these two divergences or convergence. And this means that it's really not clear at the moment. But I told you, we see other signs like this double bottom formation. And also we have support levels that may catch the Bitcoin price. So I don't expect, even if we see a downtrend, I don't expect a very hard downtrend for next week. And you remember, the old year is over and some factors are in favor of Bitcoin at the moment. So I think in summary, it's more likely that we go up to this 16.8K level again. And then it will be important to break this resistance level. Another thing I want to show you here on this chart, the 2-hour chart, is that at the moment, all the moving averages we've talked about last time, so moving average 5, 10, and 20, are almost the same, with a slight uptrending moving average 5, which means that there is a short-term uptrend at the moment. And another indicator I want to point out is the MACD here on the 2-hour chart. We also see an uptrending MACD, and also here you can see that the MACD has crossed up the signal line, and this means that short term, so for the last hours, that we see an uptrend. But you see here that these uptrends are more like swings, and we need to break through this level here, which is approximately 16,600, to continue the way to 16,800 US dollars. That's it for Bitcoin, and we continue with Ethereum. And you remember Ethereum was in this ascending triangle formation, which I told you are bullish patterns, and that made me believe that we jump out of this range going up. And in fact, what you can see here, if we zoom in a little bit more on this 2-hour chart, that there was this slight fake out. So we had two candles here that were above this line, and then we saw a downtrend back into the triangle, and then the lower resistance line was broken, and from then there was a new situation. And this price range here is approximately the support level or the trading level that we had in this range in December, from 17th December or 16th December to 19th December, and there it's currently also providing support. You see these 2 wicks. I wouldn't go so far to call this a double bottom, because for this it's really not on a large time frame. And for this we go to the daily chart, and here you can see there's clearly not a double bottom yet. But we go back to the 2-hour chart, also look at the current price action, and we see something similar as for Bitcoin. RSI here is forming this bullish signal line crossing, and also we see the higher lows here. And you also see that Ethereum is coming to a resistance here at approximately 1,200 US dollars. So again, we are in this ascending triangle formation with an uptrending RSI with a bullish signal line crossing. This is something that looks as if it's going to break to the upside. And of course, we can see another fake out here. And this is, of course, due to, you see, it's before Christmas, nobody's trading. So this is something that I've shown you. Things can break or fake out and then go down. So something similar is also possible here, that we see a fake out and then a breakout to the downside. But it's the new year, and I think it's actually going back to these levels here. And this would be at 1,215, and after this could turn into a support level. We are now on the daily chart and take a look at the bigger picture, and here you can see, if you zoom out, that it's actually still respecting this trend line here, and at the moment we are at this support level. Also, you see the RSI that is also on the daily chart trending up, and the ADX, which is currently trending up as well. You see, I've talked about the ADX before, and always when it's low or high, this means that some turnaround is happening, and we're still in this uptrending phase. So I think it's pretty realistic that we see a retest of this level, which is, I said it's 1,215 up until this upper region here. We're going to zoom in again, and this would be the top line or the top resistance line. So this is at approximately 1,300 US dollars. So it's more like a resistance zone until we reach the next resistance level. And for this, we look at this period here. So these are the next resistance levels. And if you ask yourself, what are the next downtrend or downward support levels? For this, we look at these candles here and here, and you will see that this is a support level or potential support level that could also serve as a double bottom if we go down here. So on the short time frame, I told you it's an ascending triangle. If it's broken to the downside, that could be that we test this 1,170 US dollars level. And if this level holds, then there could be another uptrend. But I told you it's on the 4-hour chart. It's this uptrending triangle, and on the 2-hour chart as well. So we have this small triangle here, and also this big one, or no, it's not a triangle, actually, it's this ascending support line. And that makes me confident that we go up to this level here. And if it's broken, then I told you, is this trading range that's realistic. A last thing I want to talk about is the fact that we see a descending trend line that will serve as another resistance level. So we don't have this horizontal supports and resistances only on the smaller time frame, but also from a macro point of view, we have these highs and the lower highs, and this will then always be a downtrend until this trend is broken here. And now we switch to Litecoin. And if you've seen my past videos, you will remember that I told you that the macroscopic chart looks very bullish because we have this overall trend that is going upwards. So this is the trend direction, and Litecoin is still respecting this trend. And you see last time, which was in the blue box, I told you that we corrected to this 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, which I can show you once more here. And this is the area where we found a very solid support. And I said we are going to consolidate on this level. Next supports here were not necessary because Litecoin actually only corrected shortly here. And this was when the RSI on the 4-hour chart corrected to the very oversold zone, which was an RSI of 15. And then we saw a heavy turnaround here and a gain of 18% within a few days. And now Litecoin is still continuing its uptrend. You see, this is the trend direction. And at the moment, you see here, this is the RSI at very overbought levels. And this was at 71, approximately 71 US dollars. And Litecoin is, and we zoom in, at this level once more. So I think that Litecoin will maybe break this level, but may correct down a little bit because we're again overbought at the moment. And what could be a next target? Of course, 62 would be a target, but I don't think that we correct that low. It's in fact this or this trend line that could be respected. And you can see it again. It's an ascending triangle that's forming, like other coins as well, like Ethereum. And that could be an ascending support. So overall, the chart still looks very bullish. And at the moment, it's a bit heated up. So I think it could cool down a little bit before we approach this zone here again. And this zone would start at 74 US dollars. And that will be the next resistance after we correct here and break to the upside. So this will be my overall chart prognosis. And I think this is very realistic. And in January, I told you it's generally better for all the altcoins and Bitcoin. We also take a look at the Bollinger Bands, and you see that at the moment, Litecoin is at the upper range of the Bollinger Bands, meaning that a correction will be necessary to maybe the middle band or the lower band. We also switch to the daily chart. On the daily chart, it looks similar, but importantly, the RSI is not very overbought at the moment. In fact, we're slightly above the average, which is 50. And from then, I think the overall uptrend will continue a little bit more and longer before we see another heavy correction like this one here, when you see Litecoin jumped to the overbought zone and then needed to correct down here in order to continue its way up. So to sum it up, I think it looks very good. A little correction will be necessary, but then afterwards we go up and Litecoin continues its way. And we continue with Cardano. And Cardano, you remember it, I've shown you this horrible chart with this descending trend line, and it's still no end in sight. And Cardano is following this trend line down. And I've told you it's nonetheless possible that we see a rebound here. You look at the RSI on the daily chart, that always when we hit these oversold zones, very oversold levels, then there could be these rebounds along this descending trend line, forming this descending wedge. So in theory, it's possible that one of these rebounds hits this upper trend line here. But we focus more on the current lows. So last time we were in this range here, and I've told you it's a possible bottom formation here, and we've gone up a little bit, but then went down. So if you remember what I've told you about the divergences, what we now see is a trending price that's going down. And then on the other hand, we have an RSI that's trending up. So we once more have a bullish divergence in combination with RSI levels that are still heavily oversold. So in order to sum up this chart, we can say it's a very horrible downtrend if you're on the long side. But on the other hand, I think it looks like we could still see a very hard reversal here to the upside. We also look at the Bollinger Bands again, and you see that we are between the middle band and the lower band. So in theory, of course, we could again go down and correct here. But in combination with these indicators, the RSI, I think it's at the moment not very realistic that we see another harsh drop down like we saw here. Let's quickly jump into the 4-hour chart and see what's happening here. So there you can see that we are in a slight uptrend for the past hours and are now near the upper band again, or between the upper and middle band. Also RSI is trending up, so the most recent trend is positive. This means, of course, we need to overjump some crucial resistance and support levels, and this is the first one is here, which gave support here, which was then broken, and this would be the first level. So this is at 25.50, and the second would be here at 26.30. We're now also on the daily chart, and you see that the moving averages that I've shown you before are all still trending down, and we have a bearish formation. We have to go down on the time frame, the 4-hour time frame. You can see that actually the moving average 5 has crossed below the moving average 10, but is now trending up again. And we go to the 2-hour chart, and here you see that the MA5 is actually moving up and has crossed both the MA10 and the MA20. So this means we are again on our way back to this resistance level that I just showed you. So in summary, Cardano is still a dangerous coin because it's in this macroscopic downtrend, but I told you it's also considered an opportunity, but it's very important to get in and out at the right time because there are no real supports at the moment to the downside except this downtrending line here. And we now move forward to the next coins, which are XRP and later Solana. And I will only talk briefly about these ones and tell you the most important things about the setup. So you remember from the last video that we see this ascending triangle formation, or we saw this ascending triangle formation, and XRP was moving slightly upwards, always getting back to this lower support line. And then after this little fake out here, we saw, as predicted, the uptrend or the breakout to the upside. And then after some consolidation on this level, there was a downtrend. And actually we moved back down here, and that's now a new formation here and a new setup with the RSI going back to the very oversold levels at the moment. What's the setup at the moment? So we can see that XRP is still not looking too bullish, although we may find this a double bottom formation with an uptrending RSI. But on the other hand, the highs are slightly lower and it's per se a bearish descending triangle formation. So this will all depend now on this support level here. That's at 33.6 cents. and further support levels here are this one at 33.20. And as long as XRP sticks to this level here, to this support level or to this support level, I think there's a chance that we also break to the upside like we did here. But if this level is broken, then this overall downtrend that may have started here at this point with lower lows that could be continued then here. And to give you a little bit of background information, why is XRP under pressure at the moment? I think that's mainly due to the upcoming lawsuit against the SEC that's going to take place. And of course, investors are afraid a bit. Nonetheless, I think we could see an uptrend, but for this resistance level here has to be broken. And to draw a more horizontal line, I think this would be the 34.70 cents level. And the last coin I'm going to talk about is Solana. And Solana is also under pressure, and this is mainly to do with the FTX crash and the investor base. And so Solana is on a longer time frame also in a downtrend. And you can see here that this is actually something that's called a descending broadening wedge, and this descending broadening wedge formation we have broken to the downside here, and here we are now in a slight uptrend. And similar to Cardano, it's also in a downtrend, and these hard drops, of course, you have to be very careful when you trade it, because you could be trapped in something going in here. You could think we are oversold here, and then you enter this trade, and then you are in an instant, you are down like 30%. So this is very dangerous at the moment to trade this coin, because there are unforeseeable drops and also, on the other hand, sharp price increases. We go to the 2-hour chart, and here you see, for example, if we go to this low here, to this wick up, that's 40% up. So this is at the moment, in my opinion, more a gamble, because you could be easily trapped in a very bad trade if you enter here. But on the other hand, of course, if you know how to trade it, it's also full of opportunities. So what's the outlook for the next days and weeks? I think it's similar as for XRP, but maybe the overall situation or baseline situation is a bit worse, because the FTX crash has really affected Solana and its investor base. And that's why I think it's possible that on the long run, we see a continuation of this downtrend here. So that's my analysis for the next week, and I hope you found the information I gave you useful. I wish you all the best for the upcoming year and also for the next week. If you engage in trading, be careful, take into account a lot of indicators and the bigger picture as well. And we see each other again, hopefully next week. So take care and goodbye.